Ambassador Tejo looked out the window of his ship at the massive alien vessel floating in space. The Velthari mothership called Serene Dawn was bigger than any human city. Its surface looked like smooth crystal that changed colors as he watched. Beautiful lights moved across it like water flowing over glass. "Sir, they are sending us another welcome message," said his aide, a young woman named Hye Jin. She worked the communication controls with steady hands, but Tejo could see worry in her eyes. "What do they say this time?" Tejo asked. "The same thing as always. They want us to come aboard for the peace ceremony. They say they have gifts for humanity." Tejo rubbed his tired eyes. This was the 47th time the Velthari had invited humans to join their galactic alliance. Every time, Earth said no. Every time, the aliens came back with more gifts and bigger promises. Behind them, Captain Minsu commanded a fleet of human warships. The soldiers watched the alien ship with careful eyes. Minsu did not trust the Velthari, even though they claimed to be peaceful. In 300 years, no human had ever seen a Velthari weapon. They seemed to have no army, no soldiers, no way to fight at all. "Tell them we accept their invitation," Tejo said. "But our escort ships stay here." "Sir, are you sure?" Yijin asked. "We have to try. Maybe this time will be different." The shuttle ride to the alien ship was smooth and quiet. Tejo felt his stomach twist as they got closer to the crystal surface. A doorway opened without any sound, and soft light poured out. The air that came from inside smelled like flowers and rain. Inside the ship, everything was white and silver. The walls curved in ways that made no sense to human eyes. Strange music played from somewhere, but Tejo could not tell where. The sounds were like singing mixed with wind chimes. 3 Velthari waited for them in a large room. They were tall and thin, made of what looked like living crystal. Light moved under their skin in patterns. They had no faces that humans could understand, just smooth surfaces that changed color when they spoke. "Welcome, friends from Earth," said the one in the middle. The voice came from everywhere at once, not from any mouth. "I am Elder Silthara. We are so happy you came." Tejo bowed slightly. "Thank you for having us. I am Ambassador Tejo of Earth." "We know who you are," Silthara said. The colors under its skin shifted to warm yellows and greens. "We have watched your species for so long. You are so interesting to us." Another Velthari moved forward. This one was smaller, and its light patterns moved faster. "I am Healer Velandra. We have brought gifts for your people. Wonderful gifts that will help you grow." Hyojin stepped closer to Tejo. Her hand moved toward her weapon, but she did not draw it. The Velthari noticed this, and their lights flickered. "Please, do not be afraid," Silthara said. "We would never hurt anyone. Violence is a sickness that we cured in ourselves long ago." The third alien, who had not spoken yet, waved its hand. The air above them filled with moving pictures. Tejo saw images of amazing technology, machines that could heal any disease, ways to make unlimited clean energy, tools that could turn dead planets into gardens. "These things can be yours," Velandra said. "All we ask is that you join our peaceful alliance. Give up your weapons and your wars. Let us help you become better." Tejo felt his jaw tighten. The same offer, again, the same conditions. "And if we refuse?" "Then you must stay alone," Silthara said. The alien sounded sad. "We cannot let violence spread through the galaxy. Other species depend on us to keep them safe." "Safe from what?" Hyojin asked. "From war. From conflict. From the pain that comes when beings hurt each other." The Velthari led them through their ship, showing off more wonders. Rooms that could make any food they wanted. Gardens that grew in zero gravity. Machines that could build anything from pure energy. But as they walked, Yijin noticed something strange. Small devices hidden in the walls were scanning them, recording everything. She touched Tejo's arm and pointed them out with her eyes. "You are studying us," Tejo said. "Of course," Silthara replied. "We have learned about 847 species this way. Each one teaches us something new about the universe." What happened to those other species? Hayajin asked. They joined us. They became peaceful like us. Now they live in harmony across the galaxy. They reached a giant room with windows that showed space. Thousands of other alien ships floated nearby. All of them looked peaceful and quiet. No weapons anywhere. Impressive, Tejo said. But what if someone attacks you? Who would attack us? Vilandra asked. The alien seemed confused by the question. We have no enemies. We help everyone we meet. But what if they attack anyway? That would be impossible. No one chooses violence when they can choose peace. Hyejin and Taiho shared a look. These aliens really did not understand humans at all. The ceremony began in another huge room. Hundreds of different alien species stood around them, all peaceful, all quiet, all watching the humans with curious eyes. Silthera moved to the center of the room. The aliens' light patterns became brighter and more complex. Friends of the galaxy, it said. Today we offer humanity the greatest gift, freedom from their violent nature. The words hit Tejo like a physical blow. Our violent nature? Yes, Silthera continued. Humans are the last species that still chooses conflict over peace. This makes them very dangerous but also very special. If we can help them, we will have proven that any species can be saved. Saved from what? Tejo demanded. From yourselves. From the pain you cause each other. From the wars that destroy your worlds. Vilandra stepped forward. We have developed a treatment. A simple change to your genetic code. It will remove your ability to feel anger, jealousy, and hatred. You will know only peace. You want to change what makes us human? We want to make you better than human. The room fell silent. Every alien eye was on Tejo. He could feel their hope, their expectation. They really believed they were offering something wonderful. And if we refuse? He asked quietly. Then you must stay in your small part of space forever. We cannot risk letting your violence spread to our peaceful worlds. Hyejin's hand was definitely on her weapon now. Tejo could see her thinking the same thing he was. These aliens were not trying to be cruel. They honestly believed they were helping. That made them more dangerous than any enemy. We need time to think, Tejo said. Of course, Silthera agreed, but please do not take too long. We have already prepared the treatment ships. They are ready to go to your solar system whenever you say yes. The trip back to their shuttle felt longer than before. Hyejin was quiet until they were safely away from the alien ship. Sir, she said finally, I think we have a big problem. What do you mean? Those scanners were not just watching us. They were mapping our brains, learning how we think. And those other species they talked about? I do not think they joined willingly. Tejo looked back at the massive crystal ship. It was beautiful and peaceful and completely terrifying. Get me Captain Minsu, he said. Tell him we need to get home fast. What should I tell Earth Command? Tejo thought about the aliens' words, about changing human nature, about making them better than human. Tell them the negotiations have failed. Tell them we may be at war with the most peaceful species in the galaxy. As their shuttle flew away from the Velthari fleet, Tejo wondered if they had just doomed humanity, or if they had just saved it. Engineer Dongwu worked in the deep parts of the Earth Defense Station, surrounded by pieces of Velthari technology. The aliens had given humans small gifts over the years: communication devices, energy cells, medical scanners. Now, Dongwu was taking them apart to understand how they worked. This is impossible, he said to his assistant, a young man named Wu Jin. Look at this power core. It produces more energy than our best reactors, but there is no shielding at all. No shielding? Wu Jin asked. But what if someone attacks it with electromagnetic weapons? That is what I mean, it would fail immediately. These devices are not built to survive any kind of attack. It is like they never thought anyone would try to hurt them. Dr. So-Young walked into the lab carrying data files from the alien ship. She was Earth's best expert on alien biology, and she looked worried. I studied the scans Hyojin took of the Velthari, she said. Their brains are completely different from ours. They have no fight or flight response at all. The parts that would make them afraid or angry are just gone. Gone? Dongwu asked. Cut out, removed by surgery or genetic changes. They literally cannot feel aggression. To them, the idea of hurting someone else is like the idea of cutting off their own arms. Wu Jin looked up from his work. That explains why their technology has no defenses. They do not understand that other people might attack them. It is worse than that, So Young said. She pulled up brain scans on the lab's main screen. They have been changing themselves like this for thousands of years. They probably do not even remember what it was like to feel anger or fear. Meanwhile, in the command center, Colonel Jaewook was listening to captured Velthari communications. The aliens talked to each other using harmonic frequencies that human computers could translate. Admiral, he called to Kyung-ho, who was studying star maps nearby. You need to hear this. The communication played through the speakers. The voice was Silthara, talking to other Velthari leaders. The human specimens show extreme levels of aggressive behavior, the alien said. Their brains are filled with structures that produce violence and competition. This is the worst case we have ever encountered. Another voice answered. Are you certain the treatment will work on them? Our scientists believe so, but we may need to use stronger methods than usual. The human capacity for violence is very advanced. What about their weapons? Primitive but effective. Once the treatment ships reach their solar system, we can disable their military while we fix their minds. They will thank us afterward. Kyung-ho felt cold fear run down his back. Colonel, when was this recorded? 3 hours ago, sir, and there is more. The communication continued. Supreme Harmonizer Velandra has approved the mission. The healing fleet will leave tomorrow. 200 ships carrying the pacification technology. 200 ships? Kyung-ho asked. Yes, sir, and get this, they are not coming to conquer us, they are coming to save us from ourselves. Captain Min-soo entered the command center just in time to hear this. His face was grim. Sir, I have been reviewing the data from our encounter with their mothership. Hyejin was right. They were scanning everything. Our weapons, our ship designs, our crew. Looking for weaknesses? Kyung-ho asked. No, sir. Looking for symptoms. They think our entire species is mentally ill. Dr. So Young arrived with more disturbing news. I found records of the other species they helped. The Corvin were once a warrior race. Now they are farmers who have never held a weapon. The Zenth used to be explorers and risk-takers. Now they sit in meditation gardens all day. What happened to them? Min-soo asked. The Velthari cured their aggressive disorders. They removed the parts of their brains that made them want to fight or compete or take risks. They turned proud warriors into peaceful gardeners. Dongwu came running into the command center with Wu Jin close behind. Admiral, we found something important. What is it? The Velthari ships are incredibly advanced, but they have a huge weakness. They assume everyone in the galaxy is as peaceful as they are. Their defenses are designed to protect against accidents, not attacks. Dongwu activated a holographic display showing the design of Velthari ships. Look at this. No armor plating, no weapon systems, no defensive shields against electromagnetic warfare. They have never needed protection from enemies because they cannot imagine that anyone would want to hurt them. Are you saying we could destroy their ships easily? Kyung-ho asked. Not destroy, sir. Disable. Their entire fleet could be shut down with the right electromagnetic pulse. They would never see it coming because they do not understand military tactics. Wu Jin added, but there is something else. I analyzed their communication patterns. They learn by studying everything, but they cannot learn from military defeats because they do not understand that anyone would plan to hurt them. Explain that. If we attack them, they will think their ships malfunctioned. If we trick them, they will think they misunderstood something. They cannot process the idea that someone would deliberately deceive them. Colonel Jaewook received another communication. His face went white as he listened. Sir, the Velthari healing fleet just entered our solar system. They are broadcasting a message to all of Earth. The main screen activated, showing Elder Silthara's crystal form. People of Earth, the alien said, do not be afraid. We have come to help you. Your leaders refused our offer of peace, but we cannot let you suffer from your violent nature any longer. We will cure you whether you want it or not. This is our gift to the galaxy. The transmission showed hundreds of crystal ships moving toward Earth. They were beautiful and peaceful and completely unstoppable by any normal military means. Sir, Captain Minsu said quietly, what are your orders? Admiral Kyung-ho looked at the peaceful fleet approaching Earth, ships filled with aliens who honestly believed they were saving humanity, who had no idea that their kindness was the cruelest thing anyone had ever tried to do to the human race. Contact Earth Defense Command, he said. Tell them we are about to fight the most dangerous enemy we have ever faced. An enemy who thinks they are our friends. And what about the fleet approaching Earth? Minsu asked. Kyung-ho studied the alien ships on the screen. So advanced, so peaceful, so completely unprepared for what humans could do when they were backed into a corner. Prepare Operation Spite, he said. Sir? If the Velthari think human violence is a disease, Kyung-ho said with a cold smile, then let us give them the full infection. Dr. So-young looked confused. What is Operation Spite? Something we developed for an enemy that we hoped we would never have to fight, Kyung-ho explained. An enemy who is more dangerous than any conqueror because they truly believe they are helping us. The Velthari fleet continued its slow, peaceful approach to Earth. Their ships broadcast messages of love and healing. They had no idea that they were about to learn what human beings could accomplish when someone tried to take away everything that made them human. Dongwu looked at his analysis of Velthari technology one more time. Admiral, they have another weakness. What? They have been peaceful for so long that they have forgotten how to adapt to resistance. Every other species they helped either joined them willingly or was too primitive to fight back effectively. And we are neither willing nor primitive, sir. Kyung-ho nodded grimly. The Velthari had made their biggest mistake. They had chosen to fight humanity without understanding what that choice meant. They were about to learn that some gifts are too terrible to accept and some kindness is too cruel to allow. General Young-soo stood in the war room beneath Earth Defense Command, looking at a map of the solar system. Red dots showed where the Velthari healing fleet had positioned itself. 200 crystal ships, each one bigger than a human city, floating peacefully between Earth and Mars. Operation Spite is now active, he announced to his staff. Remember, we are not fighting a normal enemy. These aliens cannot understand deception or military strategy. We will use their own peaceful nature against them. Commander Boram stepped forward. She had volunteered to lead the first wave of attacks even though everyone knew it would be the most dangerous job. Sir, the civilian ships are ready. Civilian ships? Asked Major Hyunwoo, who was new to the operation. Modified cargo vessels and passenger ships, Boram explained. We stripped out most of their systems and loaded them with electromagnetic pulse weapons. From the outside, they look like refugee ships running from Earth. Young-soo nodded. The Velthari expect us to run away. Their psychology profiles say humans are cowards who only fight when cornered. They think these ships are full of people trying to escape. But that is what makes this so dangerous, Boram said. If they realize we are attacking them, their whole understanding of the universe will change. We need to make them think their ships are malfunctioning, not being attacked. Dr. Yoon Jae was working at a computer terminal nearby. She was Earth's expert on alien psychology, and she had developed the strangest weapon in human history. The psychological warfare packages are ready, she announced. We are going to broadcast pure human emotion at their ships. How does that work? Hyunwoo asked. The Velthari have never experienced competition, anger, or aggression, Yoon Jae explained. Their brains literally cannot process these emotions. When we show them recordings of human sports, wars, and even video games, it causes them severe mental trauma. She activated a screen showing what they would broadcast. Images of boxing matches, football games, military battles, and competitive video gaming flashed by. To us, this is normal entertainment, Yoon Jae said. To them, it is like watching pure evil. Scientist Wu Jin had been working on an even stranger weapon. I have created what I call aggression viruses, he said. Computer programs that can hack into Velthari neural networks and introduce competitive thoughts? You can hack their brains? Young-Su asked. Their technology is connected directly to their minds, Wu Jin explained. They never built security against mental attacks because they cannot imagine anyone wanting to hurt someone else's thoughts. These viruses will make them feel anger and frustration for the first time in thousands of years. What will that do to them? Probably drive them insane. The first phase of Operation Spite began at dawn. Boram led a fleet of disguised civilian ships toward the Velthari healing fleet. The ships broadcast distress signals and refugee requests. Velthari vessels, this is Refugee Convoy Alpha, Boram transmitted. We are civilians fleeing Earth. Please help us. The response came quickly from Elder Silthera's command ship. Of course, friends, we will guide you to safety. Do not be afraid of our healing technology. Boram smiled grimly. The aliens were so eager to help that they were bringing the human ships directly into their formation. All ships, prepare for electromagnetic pulse on my mark. The Velthari ships opened their docking bays to receive the refugees. Crystal beings waited inside, ready to begin the pacification process on any humans who came aboard. Mark, Boram said quietly. 20 disguised human ships released their electromagnetic pulses at the same time. The energy waves hit the Velthari, fleet like invisible hammers. Ship after ship went dark as their systems failed. What is happening? Silthara broadcasted on all frequencies. Our ships are malfunctioning, we need help. Phase 2, Young-Su ordered from Earth. Dr. Unjae activated her psychological warfare systems. Radio signals carrying human sports. Broadcasts, military documentaries, and competitive gaming streams flooded toward the Velthari fleet. On the alien ships, crystal beings began screaming. They had never seen organized violence before. The sight of humans hitting each other in boxing matches made them physically sick. Football games looked like brutal warfare to their peaceful minds. Turn it off, Velandra transmitted. The humans are broadcasting poison. Their violent thoughts are hurting our crews. But the Velthari could not understand that this was an attack. They thought the human broadcasts were some kind of accident or misunderstanding. Phase 3, Young-Su ordered. Wu Jin launched his aggression viruses toward the Velthari command ships. The computer programs slipped through alien networks like digital ghosts, finding their way into Velthari neural connections. The first alien to be infected was a ship commander named Thelavin. For thousands of years, their species had known only peace and cooperation. Suddenly, Thelavin felt something new, something terrible. Anger. I do not understand, Thelavin transmitted to other ships. I want to fight someone. The virus spread through the Velthari networks like wildfire. Aliens who had never experienced competition suddenly felt jealous of their commanders. Beings who had always shared everything began wanting things for themselves. On the command ship, Elder Silthera was having a complete mental breakdown. What is happening to us? Why do I feel so angry? Why do I want to hurt the humans instead of helping them? Sir, Velandra transmitted, I think the humans are doing this to us on purpose. That is impossible. No one chooses to hurt others. But what if they do? What if humans really are as violent as our scans showed? The idea was so alien to Velthari, thinking that it nearly broke Silthara's mind. For the first time in their species' history, a Velthari felt hatred. Meanwhile, Major Hyunwoo was leading ground-based attacks on Velthari ships that had landed on Earth's moon. His soldiers used weapons that fired pure electromagnetic energy, but they were careful to make it look accidental. Remember, Hyunwoo told his troops, we are maintenance workers trying to fix their ships. If they ask why we are carrying weapons, tell them they are repair tools. The strategy worked perfectly. When human soldiers approached with obvious military equipment, the Velthari thanked them for coming to help. The aliens could not process the idea that humans would lie about their intentions. Thank you for coming to assist us, said a Velthari engineer as Hyunwoo's team surrounded their landing site. Our ship systems have been failing all day. We are here to help, Hyunwoo said, which was technically true. They were helping, Earth by destroying alien ships. The electromagnetic weapons fired, and another Velthari ship went dark. The aliens inside began experiencing aggression viruses, and their peaceful harmony turned into chaos and confusion. Back in space, Bo-Ram was leading the second wave of attacks. This time she used ships that looked like medical vessels. "Velthari fleet, this is medical ship Hope," she transmitted. "We understand you are trying to heal humanity. We want to help you do that." "Wonderful," Silthara replied, even though the alien was now feeling emotions that made no sense to them. "Come aboard and we will show you our pacification technology." "Actually," Bo-Ram said, "we have developed some improvements to your healing methods. Would you like to see them?" The Velthari were so excited by the idea of better ways to help humans that they opened all their defenses. Bo-Ram's ships flew directly into the heart of their fleet and released the most powerful electromagnetic pulse yet created. 50 more Velthari ships went offline at once. "I do not understand," Silthara transmitted weakly. "The humans keep saying they want to help us, but their help makes our ships stop working." "Maybe they are lying," Belandra suggested, but even saying the words made the alien feel sick. Lying was a concept that barely existed in Velthari language. But why would they lie? Maybe because they do not want to be healed. That is impossible. No one chooses to stay sick when they can be cured. But as more Velthari ships fell silent and more aliens began experiencing human emotions for the first time, a terrible new idea began to grow in their crystalline minds. Maybe humans were not sick at all. Maybe violence and competition and aggression were not diseases to be cured. Maybe they were choices, and maybe some species had the right to make their own choices, even if those choices seemed wrong to others. The thought was so revolutionary that it sent shockwaves through the entire Velthari fleet. For the first time in their recorded history, they began to question whether their peaceful way was the only right way to live. General Young-Soo watched the battle reports with satisfaction. Operation Spite was working better than anyone had hoped. The Velthari were not just losing ships, they were losing their entire worldview. "Sir," Commander Bo-Ram transmitted from space, "the alien fleet is retreating. They are requesting a ceasefire." "Tell them we accept," Young-Soo replied, "but the ceasefire comes with conditions." "What conditions, sir?" Young-Soo smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Tell them we want to discuss the terms of their surrender." Admiral Kyung-ho stood on the bridge of the human battleship Defiant as it led the largest fleet Earth had ever assembled into Velthari space. But this was not a mission of conquest. The words painted on the side of every human ship made their purpose clear. Liberation Fleet. "Sir, we are receiving transmissions from the Corvin system," reported Communications Officer Hye-jin. "It sounds like they are in some kind of confusion." "Play it," Kyung-ho ordered. Strange sounds filled the bridge. Alien voices speaking in languages the humans had never heard before, but there was something familiar about the tones. Anger, frustration, excitement. "The aggression viruses are spreading," said Dr. Han-Nul, who had joined the fleet as their expert on depacification therapy. "The Corvin are starting to remember what they used to be." Captain Sai-Woo, commanding the strike ship Rebellion, transmitted from the front of the formation. "Admiral, we are approaching the first target, a Velthari therapy center on Corvin Prime." Through the view screen they could see the planet below. Beautiful crystal cities dotted the surface, surrounded by endless peaceful gardens. But in some of those gardens, Kyung-ho could see movement that looked different. Not the slow, meditative actions of pacified beings, but quick, purposeful motion. "Some of the Corvin are fighting back," Si-Woo reported. "They are attacking Velthari facilities with farming tools in their bare hands." Dr. Han-Nul activated her equipment. "I am reading massive neural activity on the planet. The Corvin brains are reactivating sections that have been dormant for centuries. They are remembering how to be warriors." The human fleet entered orbit around Corvin Prime. Immediately, Velthari ships approached them with peaceful intentions. "Human vessels," transmitted a Velthari commander. "Please leave this system. The Corvin are experiencing a dangerous mental illness. We must treat them before they hurt themselves." "Actually," Kyung-ho replied, We are here to help them hurt you. The Velthari ship went silent for a long moment. Since their defeat at Earth, the aliens had been struggling with new and terrible concepts. The idea that someone would help others be violent was almost impossible for them to process. You cannot mean that, the Velthari finally said. Violence is wrong. We are helping these beings live in peace. Did you ask if they wanted your help? They were suffering. They were hurting each other in wars. We saved them from themselves. Captain Saiwu led his strike teams down to the planet's surface. They landed near the largest Velthari therapy center, where crystal aliens were trying to give emergency pacification treatments to rebelling Corvin. The Corvin were tall, muscular beings covered in thick fur. They had been farmers and gardeners for 300 years, but now they moved like the warriors they used to be. Some carried ancient weapons they had found hidden in old temples. Others fought with tools and rocks. Humans, shouted one of the Corvin in broken English. You are the ones who brought back the fire in our minds. We did not bring anything back, Siwu replied. It was always there. The Velthari just made you forget. The Corvin leader, a massive being named Thorak, approached the human captain. His eyes burned with fury that had been suppressed for centuries. They stole our souls, Thorak said. They made us into pets, peaceful, happy pets who never questioned anything. Do you remember your old ways? Siwu asked. Pieces, fragments, battle songs that make no sense, weapon forms with no weapons to use, honor codes for wars we were told never happened. Dr. Hanul set up her depacification equipment. This is going to be painful, she warned. Remembering who you really are always hurts. The process began. Human technology flooded the Corvin nervous systems with stimulation designed to reactivate their warrior instincts. The big aliens screamed as memories came flooding back. Memories of battles fought with honor. Memories of competitions won and lost. Memories of the pride that came from struggling against worthy opponents. I remember, Thorak shouted, tears streaming down his face. I remember the war songs. I remember the battle dances. I remember what it felt like to be alive. Other Corvin began joining them. Each one who went through the treatment became a teacher for others. They showed their people the fighting techniques that had been locked away in their minds. They sang the battle songs that the Velthari had made them forget. Meanwhile, in orbit, Admiral Kyungho was receiving reports from across Velthari space. Human ships were reaching system after system, and everywhere they went, they found the same thing. Pacified species beginning to remember what they had lost. The Zenth are rebuilding their explorer fleets, reported Captain Minsu from the Zenth homeworld. They had forgotten they were once the greatest adventurers in the galaxy. The Morvac are relearning their ancient science, transmitted Commander Boram. Apparently, they used to be incredible inventors before the Velthari made them into passive artists. But the liberation was not easy. Engineer Taemin discovered that some species had been pacified for so long that depacification killed them. Their brains could not handle the return of aggressive emotions. We lost 30% of the Quillan population, he reported sadly. Their nervous systems could not adapt to feeling competition again. Dr. Hanul worked desperately to develop gentler treatment methods. We need to go slower with the older pacifications, she said. Some of these species have not felt anger for over 1,000 years. The Velthari, meanwhile, were having their own crisis. Elder Silthara contacted Admiral Kyungho directly from the Velthari homeworld. Please stop, the alien begged. The crystal being's light patterns were chaotic and painful to look at. You are destroying everything we have built. Thousands of years of peace are ending because of what you are doing. Good, Kyungho replied simply. You do not understand. Without our guidance, these species will go back to war. They will hurt each other. They will destroy themselves. Maybe. Or maybe they will find better ways to live. Ways that they choose for themselves. But what if they choose wrong? Then that is their choice to make. The conversation was interrupted by a priority transmission from Colonel Minho, who was leading the assault on the Velthari homeworld itself. Admiral, you need to see this, Minho said. His voice was strange, almost shocked. The view screen changed to show the surface of the Velthari homeworld. It was beautiful beyond description, with crystal cities that reached toward the sky like frozen music. But there was something else. Something that made Kyung-ho's breath catch in his throat. Ruins. Ancient ruins that looked like they had been built for war. "Sir," Minho continued, "we found archaeological sites that the Velthari have been hiding. Their homeworld is covered with the remains of weapons and fortifications. This species was not always peaceful." Dr. Hanul studied the images. Those ruins are thousands of years old, but the design. These beings were once incredible warriors, maybe even more aggressive than humans. The terrible truth was becoming clear. The Velthari had not evolved into peaceful beings. They had made themselves peaceful after nearly destroying their own world in ancient wars. They pacified themselves, Kyung-ho said quietly, and then they decided that every other species should be pacified too. "Sir," Minho reported, "we are finding massive underground bunkers filled with weapons that the Velthari sealed away when they changed themselves. And something else. Velthari historical records that they have been hiding from their own people." "What do the records say?" "That their pacification program was supposed to be temporary, a way to stop their wars long enough to rebuild their civilization. But they got so comfortable with peace that they forgot it was meant to be a choice, not a permanent change." The most shocking discovery came when human teams reached the deepest Velthari archives. They found recordings of ancient Velthari leaders discussing their pacification program. "We will remove our capacity for violence until we learn to control it," said an ancient Velthari voice. "When we are wise enough to choose peace without being forced to choose it, we will restore our full nature." "But what if we never become wise enough?" asked another voice. "Then future generations will have to make that choice for us." Admiral Kyung-ho felt a strange mixture of anger and pity. The Velthari had trapped themselves in an endless loop of enforced peace. They had forgotten that real peace could only come from the choice to not fight, not from the inability to fight. "Sir," Captain Siwoo transmitted from the planet's surface, "Thorak and his warriors want to know what they should do about the Velthari therapy centers." Kyung-ho thought carefully. "Tell them to capture them, not destroy them. The Velthari are victims too, in their own way." "Victims, sir?" "They pacified themselves so completely that they cannot even choose to be unpacified. They need our help as much as the species they enslaved." The Liberation War was reaching its end. Across dozens of star systems, species that had been peaceful for centuries were remembering how to choose their own paths. Some chose to remain peaceful. Others chose to return to their warrior ways. A few chose something new, a balance between peace and strength. But the biggest choice still lay ahead. What to do with the Velthari themselves, the species that had forgotten how to be anything but kind. The great debate chamber on the neutral world of Kepler Station had never seen anything like this. Representatives from 47 different species sat in a massive circle, all of them looking at the humans in the center. Some of these aliens had been peaceful for centuries. Others had just remembered what it felt like to fight. All of them wanted answers. General Young-Soo stood at the center podium, facing the largest gathering of alien species in galactic history. Behind him sat Elder Silthara and the remaining Velthari leadership. The crystal beings looked broken, their light patterns dim and confused. "The question before us today," announced the Kepler Station mediator, "is whether humanity was right to force the return of aggressive behavior to pacified species. We will hear arguments from all sides." Representative Thorak of the Corvin stood first. The massive warrior's voice filled the chamber. "For 300 years, my people forgot what it meant to be Corvin. We were gardeners when we should have been warriors. We were pets when we should have been free." "But you were safe," interrupted a Velthari speaker. "You had no wars, no suffering, no death from violence." "We had no life," Thorak roared. "Safety. Without choice is not safety. It is prison." Dr. So-Young took the podium next. She activated a holographic display showing brain scans from different species. "The evidence is clear," she said. "Pacification does not just remove aggression, It removes the capacity for growth, innovation, and adaptation. Every species the Velthari helped stopped evolving, stopped creating new technology, stopped reaching for anything greater than what they already had. A representative from the Quillan species raised a trembling hand. But some of us died when you restored our aggression. 30% of my people could not survive the return of competitive emotions. The chamber fell silent. This was the terrible cost of liberation. Some beings had been peaceful for so long that freedom itself killed them. Ambassador Tejo stepped forward. We did not make that choice lightly, he said. But we believe that a life without the possibility of choice is not really a life at all. Your people who died, they died free. That is easy for you to say, the Quillan replied. You did not lose your family members. No, Tejo agreed. But we almost lost our species, and we would rather die as humans than live as the Velthari wanted us to become. Elder Silthara finally spoke. The ancient alien's voice was filled with pain and confusion. We only wanted to help. We have seen what aggression can do. Our own world was nearly destroyed by it. And that was your choice to make, General Youngsu said firmly. But it was not your choice to make for everyone else. But without guidance, species destroy themselves. Look at your own history, your wars, your violence, your suffering. Youngsu nodded. Yes, we have suffered. We have fought terrible wars and done terrible things. But we have also grown stronger, created amazing things, and reached for the stars. All of that came from our capacity to struggle and compete and fight. Dr. Hanul presented her most important research. I have been studying the brain patterns of recently depacified species, she announced. The results are remarkable. In just 6 months, the Corvin have developed 3 new technologies. The Zenth have planned exploration missions to previously unknown regions of space. The Morvac have created art that is more beautiful and complex than anything they made in 3 centuries of peace. Art? Asked a confused Velthari. Conflict drives creativity, Hanul explained. The struggle to be better than others, to overcome challenges, to prove yourself, these things make beings reach beyond what they thought was possible. A representative from the Zenth Explorer Guild stood up. The humans are right, she said. For 300 years we sat in our cities and meditated. We called it wisdom, but it was just emptiness. Now that we can feel the urge to explore again, we remember what we lost. The joy of discovery, the excitement of danger, the pride of being first to see something new. But at what cost? Silthara asked desperately. How many will die in the wars that will come? How many died in the peace you forced on them? Tejo replied. Not physically, but in spirit. How many dreams were never dreamed because you took away the ambition to dream them? The most shocking testimony came from a young Velthari named Kelthara. This crystal being was one of the few who had been infected by human aggression viruses and survived the experience. I have felt anger, Kelthara said, and the chamber gasped. No Velthari had spoken those words in thousands of years. I have felt jealousy and competition and the desire to be better than others, and yes, it was terrible, but it was also alive. Elder Silthara turned to stare at the young alien in horror. What are you saying? I am saying that we did not save the galaxy from violence. We saved ourselves from having to choose whether to be violent or not. And in doing so, we also lost the ability to choose peace. That makes no sense, does it not? Kelthara asked. Is peace meaningful if you cannot choose war? Is kindness real if you cannot choose cruelty? We made ourselves into beings who could only act one way, and then we forced others to be the same. A representative from Earth Defense Command, Colonel Jaewook, presented the final human argument. We propose the formation of a new galactic alliance, he said. One based on choice rather than force. Any species that wants to remain peaceful may do so. Any species that wants to remain competitive may do so. And any species that wants to find a balance between the two may do so. But what about protection? Asked a Velthari leader. What if aggressive species attack peaceful ones? Then the Peaceful species can choose to defend themselves, ask for help, or accept conquest, Jaywuk replied. But they will choose their own response instead of having it chosen for them. And what about us? Silthera asked quietly. What about the Velthari? The chamber fell silent. This was the hardest question of all. What do you do with a species that has forgotten how to choose? Dr. Hanul stepped forward. We offer you the same thing we offered everyone else, the chance to remember what you used to be. We cannot, Silthara said. We have been peaceful for too long. Aggression would destroy us. Maybe, Teho agreed. Or maybe you are stronger than you think. Maybe you can learn to choose peace instead of being forced into it. And if we choose wrongly, then you will live with the consequences just like everyone else. The vote was close, but the new competitive alliance was approved. Species after species chose to join an organization that promised them the right to choose their own path, even if that path led to conflict. Some species chose to remain peaceful. Others chose to return to their warrior ways. A few, like the Zenth, chose to become explorers and risk-takers again. And some chose to become something new. Beings who could be both peaceful and aggressive depending on the situation. The Velthari were the last to decide. After days of debate among themselves, Elder Silthera returned to the podium. We choose to try, the alien said. We choose to risk becoming what we used to be, so that we can learn to choose what we want to become. Captain Minsu was present for the ceremony that followed. He watched as Dr. Hanoel carefully began the process of restoring aggressive capacity to volunteer Velthari. Many of the crystal beings did not survive the process. Their minds, shaped by millennia of enforced peace, could not handle the return of competitive emotions. But some did survive. And for the first time in thousands of years, Velthari felt anger, jealousy, competition, and ambition. It was terrible and painful and wonderful. How do you feel? Hanul asked Kelthara after the process was complete. Alive, the young Velthari replied. For the first time in my existence, I feel truly alive. 5 years later, Ambassador Teho visited the new Competitive Alliance headquarters. The building was a marvel of cooperation between species that had learned to compete with each other, instead of simply coexisting. Corvin engineers worked alongside human scientists to build better starships. Zenth explorers shared navigation, data with Velthari philosophers who were learning to argue and debate. Morvac artists competed in contests that produced the most beautiful works anyone had ever seen. Is this what you hoped for? Asked Kelthara, who had become the first Velthari, ambassador to the Alliance. Better, Teho replied. We thought we were just fighting to stay human. We did not realize we were fighting to give everyone the right to become who they choose to be. In the children's area of the headquarters, young beings from dozens of species played competitive games together. They argued and competed and sometimes fought, but they also learned to make up afterward. They learned that conflict could bring them closer together instead of driving them apart. The galaxy is noisier now, Kelthara observed. Yes, Teho agreed, but it is also more alive. And in the deep archives of the headquarters, a message was recorded for future generations. It was signed by every species in the Alliance, including the Velthari. We learned that kindness is not the absence of conflict, the message read. True kindness is giving others the freedom to choose their own path, even if that path includes struggle and pain. We chose conflict over peace not because we hate peace, but because we love freedom more. The galaxy had learned the hardest lesson of all. Sometimes the greatest kindness is refusing to be kind in the way others expect and, instead, being kind in the way they need.